Bom dia a todos e sejam bem-vindos à 48ª edição do Cinanima, Festival Internacional de Cinema de Animação de Espinho. E foi a primeira vez que tivemos 10 dias seguidos de festival, recheados de masterclasses, de exposições, e domingo é o nosso último dia, mas ainda terão sessões de competição nacional, retrospectivas, apresentações de livros, e domingo serão as premiações, por isso se tiverem curiosidade, apareçam por lá, na sala multimeios. Também vou falar em inglês agora para apresentar. So, good morning everyone and welcome to the 48th edition of Cinanima, Espinho's Festival of Animation. And it's the first time we've had 10 days of festival packed with masterclasses and exhibitions. And Sunday will be the last day, but there will be national competition screenings, retrospectives, book presentations and family sessions. So on Sunday there will also be the awards ceremonies, and if you have any curiosity, please pass by Multimeios of Espinho. And today we have with us Deanna Morse, that is an artist, is an animator, an educator, and leader of international organizations supporting animators and independent film video artists. She is currently the president of ASIFA International, the oldest international organization of animators. Deanna has also been invited to judge a dozen of national and international festivals, including Cinanima. A Deanna é uma artista, é uma animadora, professora e diretora de organizações internacionais que apoiam animadores, realizadores e outros artistas independentes, e atualmente é presidente da ASIFA Internacional, que é a associação mais antiga de animadores, e Deanna também já foi membro de júri de dezenas de festivais internacionais e nacionais, incluindo o Cinanima. Portanto, eu queria também agradecer ao IPCA, à Deanna, por terem aqui connosco, por estarem aqui connosco. E passo a palavra então para a Deanna. Muito obrigada e divirtam-se.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for coming to this masterclass, as they say. As she said, I'm an animation artist, and when I was in college, I decided that I was going to make a film a year for all of my life, and I've done that. I work as I consider myself an artist first. But I've also done some corporate work and some commercial work where I've actually made money from my films. But most of my artwork as an animation artist is just personal expression. And I'll show you a little bit about the things that my career path has taken and also my artistic path has taken today. I know you're all animators, right? Everyone here has taken animation. No, I see someone says, no, I'm not. So, because I usually start, when I talk about animation, I talk about how I learned about it. I was in college, and I was interested in the idea of materials and techniques. And I took a whole bunch of different classes, like sculpture, painting, illustration, ceramics. And my interest was, what can you do in a painting that's different from what you can do in a sculpture? So how does the material that you're working with inform what it is that you can say as an artist? That was kind of the driving question that made me continue as an artist. I was like, how does the material affect what it is that you can say? And one time in college, I was in a filmmaking class, and we did what's called reverse storyboard. Maybe you've done that too, where you take a film and you analyze it and you make a storyboard from the finished film to see how the film was put together. So, okay, I'm in this class. I reach in the box and grabbed a roll of film. This is like in the old days when we had 16 millimeter film. I took it home. And the film that I picked out of there randomly was, I don't think you've had this here, but it was the Pillsbury Doughboy, which was a little piece of bread, puppet animated, but I didn't know what animation was. So I went back to my dormitory and I showed this little piece of film and I said, how did they do this? And nobody knew, because this was like 1970, way before most of you were born. And nobody knew how they did animation in my group, you know, because it wasn't so popular back then. So anyway, I did some research and I figured out that what they did, was they took and they, move, click, move. They took the doughboy, moved him a little bit, got out of the way, clicked the camera, came back, moved a little bit, clicked the camera. You know what I'm talking about because you're animators too. So I was driven by that notion of move, click, move. And at the college that I was at, it turned out they had an animation stand that they were using to shoot photographs on the 5th floor of a building, and no one had ever used it. So I asked, can I use that animation stand to make animation? Like, oh, yeah, maybe. Okay. We'll let you stay overnight one night, and you can use this. And so I had little pieces of paper, and I did the move, click, move, and then I sent it away to the lab because, we're talking 1970s. This is like the old days. I had to wait 1 week for the film to come back, and when I projected it, those little dots came alive, and that's it, I'm hooked. So since then, every year I've continued to move, click, move, click, move. So on your chair, I had a program that I showed, and this just shows you a little bit of the variety of my work. I screened my work a few months ago at the Ann Arbor Film Festival, and this is the program from that. I'm showing you like 3 or 4 films today. This is like a 2-hour program. Oh yeah, you're never getting out of this room. We're just gonna stay here all day. It's all about me. But anyway, so I had these programs and I thought, oh, they look good and you can see a little bit of my films. And all of these films are now on my website. But previously, I put them on a DVD. So I worked with this former student of mine, actually, and he designed this website trying to transfer the idea of what was on the DVD into the internet. So on my website now, it's like all my films connected to my Vimeo account. And then there's a bunch of making of stills, and there's a little bit of text or descriptions of things. So anyway, I'm going to show you some of my work, and I think I'll start with my Sesame Street films. Did you guys grow up with Sesame Street? Anyone watch that to learn English when you were kids? Yeah. So when I was, I think I was probably about 40 when I did the Sesame Street. The way Sesame Street worked was you would show a reel of samples of all the work that you've done, and then Sesame Street would look at your work, and then they would accept you as one of their, they're accepted artists. You could be in their team of artists. So anyway, what happened, this is actually a really good story to tell to students because it was a mistake I made in my life. So I sent this work in. This woman wrote me back and she said, we don't have any work right now, but stay in touch. And I thought that was a letter of rejection. So I just let it go. I'm like, okay, they don't have any work right now. They don't have any work for me, so I'm not one of their artists, And then I went to a film festival, and there's this woman that first told me about Sesame Street who was doing it, and she said, no, they said stay in touch. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So then I wrote back to the woman, oh, it's been a year. I know it's been a year, but you told me to stay in touch. Do you have any work now? And she's like, oh yeah, we have work for you. And so they sent me this giant encyclopedia book of all the Sesame Street educational guidelines that you needed to follow to make sure that you could, make the work for them. Anyway, and what they had was something that I really liked. It was a kind of a game that I used to do when I was a kid where you would look for something within the artwork, like it's called embedded figure in educational terminology, but you look close to the artwork and then you find something inside of there. So anyway, this is on my DVD. This is in the fun shorts section, and we're gonna go there. And I'm gonna show you an embedded figures piece, and it's more fun if you actually kind of pay attention to what the guy says when he says, look, the animals are hiding and can you find them if you actually look for them? Like pretend like you're 6 years old or 3 years old and you're actually looking for the characters. So we're going to look at Monkey's t-shirt, which is coming up. Here we go. Right here. And it's really long, like all Sesame Street stuff, 1 minute. Okay, so I'm going to hit watch, then I'm going to make it big. Right here. And then you're going to hit play. Thank you.
Look, the animals are hiding. Can you find them? Can you find the lion? Very good. Can you find the zebra? Great. Can you find the giraffe? How about the snake? Can you find the bird? And the elephant? And last, but certainly not least, can you find the monkey? Very good. You found all the animals.
All right.
Very good.
Oh, that was marvelous. That was great.
Interesting shirt.
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay, so any animals? Did you have trouble finding any animals? I need to get out of the, let's see, I need to get escape, right? I want to go to the stills, which are here, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, you made these bigger before somehow, but you were on there. We weren't doing it here. Maybe they'll just, oh here, thank you, okay. Did you have anyone have any trouble with any of the animals? You found them all? Oh, come on. You're like, you're illustrators, that's why. Because sometimes people can't find the bird. Yeah, the bird's a little difficult. But you know what happened when we made this piece, and I worked with this, well, she was my student actually, Rose Rosalie, graphic. She did the graphic design and I did the cutout animation. But we got some kids and did what they call like a beta test, you know, with the kids. So we were doing a little bit of just sample work, and then I sat with these kids and they couldn't find anything. None of them. They couldn't see the lion, they couldn't see even the monkey. Maybe they saw the elephant. So I contacted the producer at Sesame Street and I said, I'm a little worried. You know, the kids can't see any of this stuff. And they said, oh, it doesn't matter, because here's what happens with Sesame Street. We show it over and over and over again, you know, over seasons. And it trains the kids to look into the image deeply. So the first time they may not see it, but later they will. Also, they said, a lot of times what happens is they have older kids or parents who are sitting there, and the parents will see that stuff, but the children will not. So that was like also an interesting lesson about this. But anyway, oops, I'm sorry, I just hit something. We, this is how we did the characters. It was a cutout animation. We actually did it sort of a complicated way, but we painted them on acetate cells the way that you would do like the old Disney type stuff, and then back painted them, took them to a Xerox machine. Then they were little paper cutouts, and I did a lot of replacement animations so that you could get the feeling of things looking more dynamic, like larger and smaller. So like the giraffe in particular, you know, to get the squash and stretch and the exaggeration, you know, I had all these replacement little giraffe heads. And the way that we shot it at that time, I rented a facility that gave me the opportunity to shoot frame by frame on video. And oh my goodness, the budget for Sesame Street was always like, let me try to think about this. I think it was $10,000 for 1 minute. That was always their budget. But the way that it shook out at that time, 1/3 of the budget, $3,000 went to technology rental, and then $3,000 went to editing and music, and the final $3,000 went to the artist and me. And we figured we were making something like $5 an hour by the time that it all like shook out. So, but they, even Pixar, when they did Sesame Street, they got the same amount of money, because Sesame Street had just like a flat amount that they paid per minute. Everybody, whether you were an independent animator or a big company, you all made that amount per minute. Unfortunately, they're not doing these kind of animated shorts anymore, but there are other ways that you can make money doing shorts, of course. Anyway, again, we had to rent this facility to do the shooting, so I had lots of these paper dolls, including extra paper dolls in case they got damaged, because we wouldn't have time to make them. So here's the bird flying cycle, just again replacing one piece with one piece. And here I am in the studio that we rented, playing with my little paper dolls underneath the camera. And there was one challenge in here where the elephant fell down, and we were trying to figure out whether to do a camera move or whatever. Anyway, we ended up making a cut in that part because the T-shirt had like it had to cut to that, and it had a little tiny background there that we were moving with tweezers and chopsticks on that. So anyway, there's my coworker and I were hiding behind the animals here. So I'm going to show you another Sesame Street piece too. Thank you. Yeah, it's just right. Yeah, it's underneath this one. Next piece, or yeah, go back. Yeah. Let's see. So here's a second piece that we did. Again, it's about the same length, working with the same artist and the same musician. And again, cutout animation. I think first I'm going to show you the stills, and then we'll come back to the, let's see if I do watch.
I'll go.
Then the stills are underneath here. Oh, here they are. Okay, I actually also have an animatic on here where you can see the storyboard. And then here are and I'll let you make that big again. So here are the stills of how we did this. Again, using acetate so that we could get the layers and a lot of cutout animation. This guy's just like a little paper cutout. You'll see him. And I use this technique that I used when I teach children, where you do overlapping joints, and on the back you connect them with strings so that you don't have brads going through. It's a very simple little way to do cutouts, but it works really well because if your tape is closer, then your joints have less flexibility, and if your tape is further apart, then you can have a lot of crazy flexibility. I've used this particular string and tape technique a lot for building cutout characters. And then sometimes I don't use any string at all, and I just lay the things on top of each other. In this case, you'll see this guy come in. He has a mouth that kind of looks like a prosthetic mouth, and he has replacement tails, to let the tails go in and out. And here's his mouth. When it fits on there, you can hardly tell that I was a dentist in a former life. Yeah, for talking. And again, I believe that a lot of what happens in animation is because you exaggerate, things get really big and really small, and that's really the magic of animation, to extend, to morph, to exaggerate. So I did this in cutout the same way I would if it was a drawn animation, and so he freaks out at one point, and his eyes get like super big, you know, just for like a frame or two. You don't even see it, the maracas get big too. You don't even really see it, except if it wasn't there, the character would just look a lot more robotic, you know, and wouldn't have the fluidity that you would like to see in animation. And this is the way I get it in cutout, is with replacement. Now, again, working with Sesame Street, the way that you do it is you, and I'm talking tech and money with you guys because I know you students, you want to know, like, how do people actually make a living? The way Sesame Street would pay is they give you 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So your money came in 3 sections. And the first thing you do color studies and a storyboard, and then you get paid 1/3 of the money. Then you do like a sample reel, so you could see how the animation's going to move with the music, maybe an animatic. You get 1/3. And then you finish the film and you get the final third. So that way it worked really well, and that's a good way to freelance too, to ask for a little bit of money up front, because otherwise you end up spending all your money on materials and you never, you know, you're out. So it's a good strategy in terms of how to work with clients if you can get them to play with you that way. That's kind of your goal. Anyway, we did an original storyboard for them, and they revised it in a significant way. Mostly, they made it more scary. And I'm like, I don't know, do little kids like scary stuff? Yep, kids like scary stuff. They said, okay. So, and on this piece, we ended up using the Sesame Street characters' voices rather than trying to record our own, because it was one more thing that they're in charge of that they wouldn't tell us that we had to change, because they always made you change stuff. Oops, I'm sorry, I keep hitting that thing. Here we go again. So here's my cricket, cutout cricket, and that, we've already seen that. And I think that was it. Heavily revised, we're done. Now we can see the film. All right, so if we make it smallish, thank you. You're doing a great job there. And I'm in charge here, right? Yeah. All right. Or you can do this too, right? We're both doing this. This is interesting. So if you're moving the mouse and I'm doing this, oh no, we're all doing touch screen. Okay. Just checking to see who's the, you know, like they say, the magician behind the screen. Here we go. 1 minute.
Whoa! It sounds like there's a monster whistling a cha-cha outside my window. Oh, it's only the wind blowing the trees. Whoa! That sounds like a monster playing on the rockers right outside my window. Oh, it's just a cricket. Forget about it. I'm going to sleep. There's no monster around here.
Whoa! That sounds like a Martian singing a mambo in that house over there. I'm getting out of here.
Great. So, how we doing on time so far? I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show you some of
You want me to go back?
Yeah, I need to go. I'm going to go here to the main menu again. I'm going to show some of what my personal artistic work is like, and then I'm going to show a piece about working in communities. So let's see, I want to do Wish You Were Here. I think this is where it is. I'm crazy about things that move really, really fast and things that move really, really slow. And I'm also kind of nut about time lapse. So a lot of my work over the years has been time lapse. Now it's so easy to do. It's just embarrassingly easy. I do it all the time with my phone now. But in the old days, you know, like I had to buy motors that would, big motors. There was one that was made by a guy, JK Motor it's called, and he did surfboards and animation motors. That was his company. Can you believe that? It was a really cool thing. Did you ever know that guy? San Francisco JK, yeah, anyway. Yeah, surfboards and motors, that's what he did. And I bought this animation motor anyway, and I've always, since the beginning of my filmmaking time, loved time lapse. The other thing is I always, you know, back on materials and techniques, I think about what is it that you can only do in animation that you cannot do in live action or sculpture or other things. And for me, it's what's between the frame. Because in animation, because we're shooting one frame at a time, it's actually got a technical term, it's called kinesthesis, that you can shoot a frame and then, you know, have another frame that's different, and then a frame, and then a frame that's different. And if these are my frames, that makes a strobe. You know, I can only do that in animation. Or in this case, I just got hooked with shooting the natural world, frame by frame by frame, and then connecting the things together, and by trying to look at the center of interest, what was the visual center of the frame, that your eye might be drawn there and other things would change around it. So in this case, it's flowers. There's a lot of flowers in my work. So I'm going to show you a piece that I did in, actually in Spain, at an artist colony where I was for a month, and I was exploring the landscape there. So this is Breathing Room. It's 4 minutes long. And, oh, is it going to come up, or is it got a broken link?
Do you want me to see it here?
Yeah, try it there. Oops. Oh, it just can't, it's thinking.
Yeah, it's like that.
Okay. And then I'll make it full frame. And then you can hit play. Thank you. So sometimes people ask me about that last shot. Can you figure out how I did it?
Closing the windows.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm doing time lapse, and then I'm just moving in, you know, and then getting out, and then closing, getting out, closing, getting out. So yeah. Oops. I'm going to go back to the move, click, move just for a minute. So one of the things about over my career, you know, my life as an animator is trying to figure out how do you show these short films. And actually Breathing Room is kind of interesting because I showed it one time, I projected it on a building, and one time it was in a lingerie store on their monitor, you know, just running over and over again. And I've had my films in museums on loops, and also, you know, projected, as I said. And then at one point, I was approached by this company that wanted to showcase how they could make a DVD. This is like at the very, very early stages of DVDs. And they had a bunch of clients that were furniture companies, and they couldn't use those clients to showcase their DVD authoring skills because it had too many secret chairs and tables and stuff like that. So they came to me and they said, well, you know, you have all this content that you've created, and what would you like it if we would make a DVD that would showcase your work? And it was interesting. This was one thing I did that was smart. I said, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, thank you, I'm interested. And then I got off the phone and I called up the guy that was working at the company that was my former student. I said, what's a DVD? I mean, it's so hard to even believe that, but you know, that's gonna happen in your life too. You know, what's virtual reality, or whatever, you know, things are changing so quickly. And the smart thing I did was I was like, oh yeah, thank you, what a great offer, I'm really interested. I have no idea what I'm going for, but you know. Then these guys made this DVD for me where they put all my work in a beautiful, beautiful framework. And I don't know if you guys can even, I brought DVDs to offer you. I don't know if you can even play DVDs anymore. Oh, I see nodding, oh good. Because this DVD has a really interesting interface. What it does is you go to the main menu, and then you go to the menu and then you click on these things, and it goes to these different sections. And when you sit on the sections, each section has a different bird sound. I'm like really into birds. And if you wait for 20 seconds, there's a little surprise animation. So it's like a little Easter egg, you know, in the DVD. And then you click, 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 which will send you back to this main menu here. The pencil always is the click that goes back to the main menu. And the other cool thing that they were trying to showcase, which actually, I don't know, it was supposed to be like sporting events where you can have multi-cameras. So there's something on here that allows you to click between the storyboard and the film back and forth. Like, I don't know why you would ever want to do it, but it was a big deal for them because like at like a baseball game or a soccer match, you could go between these different cameras and see. So that's something else that was sort of unique about this disc. And let's see, like here's one of the menus and they had animated menu designs too. So anyway, I have this DVD here that you guys can explore if you're able to play it, which I'm glad several people said. You know, I'm teasing that it's like the way people like vinyl now, you know, to go, the smell of a record, you know. I don't think DVDs ever had an odor, but anyway, this was the original packaging case, but I didn't want to bring all this plastic stuff, so basically I have the insert that shows you the different titles that are in the DVD, and then the DVD is in a little envelope, so that's here for you. So let's see how we're doing. 11:07, this is good. I'd like to show you, well, one other part of my life, and it's just got a little bit of animation in it, but I'm going to kind of tell you what you should do. I always hate it when people tell you what you should do, But when you get out of school, it's important that you find your community. And for me, my community has been this community of animators called ASIFA. It's the Association Internationale du Film d'Animation. It's from French. Next year we're going to be 65 years young or 65 years old, and it's a really important organization because what it does is it tries to connect animators to animators across globe, across countries. And personally, I believe that if there's an Esperanto, I don't know if you know that term, if there's a universal language, I think animation is the closest that we have to a universal language, because we can tell things non-verbally, we don't have to have subtitles, you know, and I hope you get to see the film Flow, which is in the festival. It's a feature-length film with no dialogue whatsoever. And you know, that film will play in Sri Lanka, Japan, Korea, you know, all these different countries, and people will, you know, we all understand things a little bit differently. We all have different ways of reading color and things like that, but it's close, to me, it's close to a universal language. It's also a chance to go to another country and meet your peeps, you know, to find the people that are animators like you. And so I'm like crazy about this organization. I've been involved with it for about 20 years, and I'm currently the president for just a little bit longer. And I made a video that tells what ASIFA does. It's 9 minutes long. It's got a little bit of animation in it, and I'd like to share that with you too. So this is actually one of my most recent pieces. Not fully animated though.
Continuously active since 1960, the International Animation Association, ASIFA, works to connect animators globally and promote the art of animation. There are chapters all around the world, each with their own personality, their own activities, festivals, workshops, meetings, projects, and purposes. Chapters can connect with each other to host cultural exchanges and collaborate on national funding. The current executive board is Deanna Morse, President, USA, Vice Presidents Anastasia Dimitra, Greece, Jancho Lee, China, Mohammed Ghazala, Egypt, Annegret Richter, Germany, Treasurer Stefan Strato, Austria, and Secretary General Thomas Renoldner, Austria. ASIFA. Corey Parks, USA, is the Director of Technical Operations. Agnes Lee, China, coordinates the ASIFA Prize. Brianna Yarhouse, USA, is the Coordinator of International Animation Day. Crystal DeGrasse, Belgium, is the President of Animation Workshop Group. And Nelson Shin, Korea, is our Auditor. ASIFA. International ASIFA serves as an umbrella organization, linking the many vibrant chapters with several unique international projects. Since 2002, we celebrate International Animation Day. ASIFA commissions an original poster used around the world. There are simultaneous activities on every inhabited continent. Screenings, workshops, exchanges, lectures, exhibitions, discussions, cosplay, mixers, scavenger hunts. It is truly a global celebration. October 30th marks the birthday of animation, the first projection of animation by Émile Reynaud in 1892.
ASIFA.
ASIFA. For 40 years, we have recognized international animators with a CIFA Prize, our Lifetime Achievement Award. ASIFA. Artist animators around the world work with children to help them tell their own stories through animation. Since 1971, our ASIFA workshop group coordinates this, working with a common theme and compiling a child-made film for an international screening.
ASIFA.
ASIFA publishes a magazine, an academic journal, and a website. Our website now features a new postcard exhibition with artwork from our global members. Another new project, ASIFA Student Award, recognizes an emerging animator who is beginning their career. During the pandemic, we gathered on Zoom to celebrate our 60th anniversary. Animators worldwide connected through animation play, conversation, and fun. Our founders, the first president, Norman McLaren, John Hallis, and others, saw animation as a bridge between different cultures and ideologies, a way to build a world of dialogue and peace. We were chartered under UNESCO and worked to connect animators from both sides of the Iron Curtain. Today, our challenges are similar and also different. We face changing technologies like AI and authorship and ownership challenges. ASIFA was recently asked to weigh in on where AI fits in animation. As you can imagine, we are having a robust discussion. Another milestone. Time for pause, reflection, a new global animation for peace, parties, dancing. ASIFA, 65 years young. Designed to connect animators to animators around the world, celebrating the art of animation, making cultural connections with the spirit of peace, love, and tolerance. This is what guides ASIFA today. Where is the I in ASIFA? Where are you in ASIFA?
So a couple things that you can plug in with ASIFA. You could enter the student award for ASIFA. I think it's a €1,000 prize, and the films get shown at festivals. And also, you have to be a member to do this, but you could be part of our postcard collection, which I brought some of these that you guys could take that's mentioned there. And also, you can come to events at festivals. We have ASIFA parties. We have ASIFA, meet and greets. And my chapter, which is the Midwest chapter, we actually have a monthly ASIFA coffee break. Unfortunately, it's at 5:30 Central Time, so it might be in the morning for you. But we have one woman who comes every month. It's a Zoom. And she comes every month. She's from Greece, but she lives in the UK, and so she's like a night owl, and she's like 3 in the morning, and she's comes in, and she's our friend now, and actually she's in this postcard collection too. So that's another way that you could plug in if you were looking for a community of animators, which I always was, because I never lived in a big city like New York City. I lived in little tiny places where I was the only animator that you could throw a stone at, you know, in miles and miles. So this is a way that I could connect with other animators and people that shared, you know, what I'm interested in, which is moving, clicking, moving, and frame by frame by frame. So I think I'll see if you guys have any questions or comments at this point. I'm about at what was supposed to be my time, I think. Yeah, 40 minutes. Yeah, yeah. I can show another film, or does anyone have a question or a comment before I go on to another piece, maybe? Yeah, yeah.
How do you deal with when you're creating your own work with the sound work, for example, because you know music and everything, most of us don't know anything about how to create music. Like, do you use free work online, or do you hire someone to work with you?
I hire, but I don't pay much. And people want to offer me their music, so I, you know, but I always pay, whenever I can pay people, I pay people, because I want to be paid, I want you to be paid. So yeah, I always do that. And I do make my own sounds. I make, like I've worked with Soundtrack Pro, there's some ways that you can get like a little guitar riff or something. And actually, since you asked that, I will show my most recent film where I made the soundtrack with AI, which I know is kind of like a dangerous thing for people to talk about. You bad girl, you used AI, but I have, you know, I'm interested in time lapse, blah, 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 blah. And anyway, I've been playing with AI, and there's an AI soundtrack making thing called Udio that I put in some keywords and found some music that I kind of liked, and then I made little clips of it, and then I cut it together and added another sound to it. So I'll show that to you. But I also sometimes I make sound effects with, you know, a microphone, and some of my films just have that kind of sound too. But my students used to take stuff from the internet, but I don't do that. And the reason is that I find that there's some like free, you know, free sites that you can use, like Freestyle and stuff, but those sounds are so common that we hear them in a number of films. You know, like there's a little harp riff, you know, that I know is from Freestyle, you know. So I don't, as a nature anymore, take things just from the internet. I create it myself. And you can do that too. With, you know, a microphone, you can, you know, shake things, make a Foley stage, you know, do that. Yeah. But I also, yeah. Anyway, here's my AI one that I did. This is my most recent piece. I worked on this for about 3 years. And actually, it's interesting that you asked that sound question, because I finished it with a soundtrack that was from this global sound project. And I finished the film 2 years ago, and then I showed it to some people. And everyone said, you know, your film's like really stunning, but the soundtrack is just not there. It's not rich enough. You need something more, you know, in the sound. So I have not shown this to anyone yet, you guys. So this is like a premiere, you know. Maybe you might say the same thing. This AI sound is just not cutting it. You know, it may not work, but I put it on my website last week because I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done. And I changed the date, you know, to now, and I added a couple more shots. So, all right, see what you think. We'll try it. Yeah. And I'm going to step back so I can see it better, too. Yeah, I'm just going to be right here. Thank you. I don't know, do you think it needs more sound? I was gathering a lot of sound over the last 2 years, and I had laid a lot of other sounds in it. I had sounds of people fighting and laughing, and then I thought maybe it was too dense, and I ended up, but I think that harp music maybe is a little repetitive. Watch, you're going to go to AI and you're going to do exactly the same harp thing, and then I must say, oh yeah, it's like taking sound off the internet where it's so recognizable. It's like, yeah, but could you tell that's AI? The sound? No.
I think it's harder with sound to notice if it's AI or not, because only those that are more knowledgeable of sound might recognize it, but the majority of people do not.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you're using AI in that sense, because I think there's more problems with, for example, the use of AI for animation, for illustration, and so on. But when it comes to sound, people are more lenient in a way, or even just using ChatGPT. So
because there was already
like artificial sounds before.
Yeah, I think so. That makes sense. Like I had used GarageBand in the past to make little loops of sound. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah.
I think it's one thing in this particular piece that makes AI. I'm sorry for this word, excusable. Is that it's a very simple piece. It's like five notes on a loop. So there, because at least to me, a problem with AI is that AI is fed like an hungry animal with works that have been previously done by other artists. But I don't think anyone can claim to be the artist behind a loop of 5 to 7 arp notes. So
Yeah.
Which is also something that in a class setting, if we're working around with sound design, the professors will encourage us to use programs like Reaper, where you can simulate a musical note.
Yeah, yeah. I was just reading an article about Ed Sheeran, though, where he used some notes that then someone, another artist, musician said he stole them, and it went back and forth, and yeah. But yeah, you're right. Dun 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 dun. Like, okay, happy birthday to you. It's just yeah, yeah. Now, do you think I should credit the AI, that I used AI on my credit? That's something I was debating about, and you saw I didn't. I didn't credit anything about the sound. I might write it.
Would you credit the camera?
No, but a lot of people do credit like Soundtrack Pro and stuff when they use it. And I don't know if you need, you're right. To what extent do you need to credit the tool? That's, yeah.
I was thinking more in the sense that so people are not misguided into thinking, oh, maybe someone did play the harp or something.
Right.
Because I think that's the debate, if you're using technology for everything or if there was someone doing this.
Yeah, yeah. And I always do credit my musicians, so it seems odd. Maybe I will do it in the description, but not in the film. Or maybe I'll add it to the film. I'm still in, yeah.
I think normally when we credit
I'm not even sure that mic is on, but I like to see you guys hold it. Yeah.
I think normally when we credit like programs, it's more like in an education form. Like I have Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's more like in an education form where you credit like the programs that you use, so people can know, okay, she used like Photoshop, she used Adobe Premiere, not like in the credit form, so you cannot credit if you want. I don't think it's really necessary. It's more like academic stuff. Our teachers sometimes say, put the programs that you use so I can see or others can see. I think it's more like that.
Yeah, and I think it's useful to credit your teachers, because then those of us who know, we see that in the credits sometimes, and someone back here has their hand up too, over and by the window. Yeah. Sending it over. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question, but it's based. I'm going to ask you for your opinion. So you start by saying how you started animation. It was like the 5mm, and now you are using AI. For example, since you are experiencing a lot of the research that the world is giving to you, do you feel like animation became more exciting because of all the things like digital animation and stuff, or do you feel like the lack of researches, the materials and stuff made it more challenging and more like it made you like more creative because the lack of the materials, or do you feel like the materials that now we work made you like more exciting to do animation. I don't think.
I think I'm sort of getting, but because I've always been interested in technology and I'm interested in materials and techniques. But there were about 20 years ago, I used to say, you know, I'm on the technology treadmill. You know, a treadmill, like. But I said, but I'm not losing weight. But I'm just walking, learning new. I was always learning new technology, new technology, new technology. And what inspires me now, I'd spend too much time at the computers, so now I've come back to like this time lapse and doing things under the camera with my hands, you know, moving. But I've never felt like that things were stale. I always felt like there was something new to try, and I still feel that way. And that's partly why I'm interested in AI too. And I have done, well, I did the AI that was in the Asifa video, the wine glasses and stuff, you know, I did that, and I tried putting these poppies, the flowers, I tried putting those into AI, but they just looked goofy. It didn't work. So those are all like real flowers. Well, one of them's like a little puppet flower, but you know, they're mostly, yeah. But no, I haven't found. Yeah, I'm still interested in technology. I'm interested in materials, and I'm interested in making work. And there's something magic to me that happens sometimes in animation where. Because I'm shooting all the time, and then every now and then I'll look at something and it'll just like be like, oh, that works. That's what I'm going to take and develop in some way. And then a lot of times I shoot stuff and it's like, yeah, whatever, you know. But when that magic happens that you feel like something works, that's, yeah, when I keep going. I hope that kind of answers your question, yeah. Yeah. Hi.
Following the same guidelines, I think.
Yeah.
What's your opinion now that technology has evolved so much that now there's some animation movie projects that looks a lot like real life? You mentioned earlier that animation pushes the reality. There's a squash and stretch of things, transform things, exaggerated things. And now there's more and more animation projects, especially from big companies, that use motion captures that tries to be closer to the real life. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Kim and I were talking about this last night too, because she was saying, like, in a lot of these animated features, like Lion King, you know, you don't even know. There's all this stuff, you don't even know that it's animated. You just think, and it used to be, you know, we'd say that you could look at a picture and you could tell what was real and what isn't real. And I worry about, like, my little grandniece, you know, that she's going to think that these animals all talk and do all this stuff because they look so real you can't tell. So I don't know how she's going to make sense of the world and the way that we used to make sense of the world. But I mean, it gives someone a job. That's good. But I think if it's too realistic, why bother?
Yeah, there's a magic in the sharpness of the animation sometimes, and it feels like it's losing it more and more in the big companies.
Yeah.
Lion King, like it's almost a documentary, not a movie for kids.
Yeah.
To watch and to find visually stimulating. So.
Yeah, and we do say that. Sometimes I've been on juries where they say, why do you bother animating that? It could have been a live action movie. You could have just filmed people. Why spend all the energy on animation? Now, my own bias, although I'm not really an illustrator, I love hand-drawn work too. So when I come to a jury, I often am biased towards the things where you can see the hand of the artist. That's just me. But that's what I love. And I think you guys, you're an illustration major, right? Many of you. And animation. So you probably love that too. The idea of the hand drawn where you can see the pencil, the pen, the paintbrush, all of that. But it is kind of scary, this thing about what's real and what's not real. You know, scary on a lot of levels, politically, and yeah, but anyway, yeah. Another comment, or yeah, back?
So I was wondering, since your work process has so much nuances and details, and it's very manual, if you feel like AI sort of ruins the process, the way you involve yourself with what you're doing, or if it helps in some way, how do you feel about it?
I'm not sure. We went to a panel yesterday in Espino. There was a long AI panel where people were talking very passionately about it for several hours. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say. I find it interesting though, and to me, because I'm interested in tools and techniques, it's something I will play with. And yeah, I don't think it may ruin things later. I don't know.
But isn't it weird to just be like behind because you're doing things that are supposed to resemble real life, you're thinking about it, but you're not really seeing it, and you're just behind the screen doing things. Instead of, like, for example, when you have a camera and you're doing a stop in motion, you're there looking at what's happening.
Right.
It's a much more direct process.
Yeah. And part of what I see my work is sort of meditational too. So even though you're not out in the real world with these flowers, maybe you're seeing these flowers make the movement, and it kind of, makes your breathing change. I think of it as sort of one of my DVDs is called Mindful. I believe in kind of slowing down, but then the bottom line is I think we should all go outdoors. That's where we should be right now, Yeah, listening to the birds and yeah. Yeah.
Also, you were talking about, this is just on what she was saying, you're talking about the realisticness of animation. I was thinking of the example, for example, the last movie of Tintin, which was like motion capture, I think, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a drawing or like it's painted, but it's 3D. And anyway, just mentioning it.
Yeah. Another comment. Yeah.
I will ask about how do you decide what you post or share, or it's just an experiment and you keep just for yourself?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people told to you to post everything, even if it's not perfect or good, but in the other way, they say to you, don't post everything, and I was like, okay, so how do you decide? Do you post everything, or do you have a selection?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the man he's my former student who designed my DVD and my website. And he keeps telling me he wants me to share everything because he sees it as an archive, like it's all everything that I've done, even though some of my films are not as strong as others. So, and I'm more into thinking that I should do the things I think are the best, so we've had that discussion a lot about how much to post or not to post. My inclination is to put your better stuff out there and not post the things that you're not so proud of. That's my general sense. But on the other hand, sometimes other people find the things that I think that I did that are not as good, somebody else might think they're just great. And curiously, I have a film that I made. It was a very early computer graphics film where I used code there was no cursor, there was no trackball, there was no pull-down menu. It was all like you had to type in the coordinates. I made that film in, I think, '85, and I'm not like super proud of that film, and it's been sitting in my closet, and all of a sudden that film is like super popular. It was shown in Australia last week. People just, so it resonates with other people. So, you know, I'm glad it's out there posted. So I don't know the answer on that, on how much to post or not post. I didn't put any of my work online for many years, and then the Sesame Street stuff, other people were putting it online, and it was lousy copies, and it didn't have the credits for the musician or anything, so that's why I posted it. And now I have almost all of my work is on my website, so, and YouTube and Vimeo, but not TikTok yet. It's like, yeah.
Too long for TikTok.
Yeah, too long for TikTok, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you do
project?
Personal project.
Yeah, personal. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you imagine the concept? Do you think about the public that you gonna show, or it's just something, an idea that you have and you think, okay, I'm gonna experiment and explore, when you are making a movie, do you think just about what do you want to transmit?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think more like the opinion of?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And I was a professor too, and I sort of have a double standard. When I taught my students, I said, you really need to think about your audience and your public and where it's going to go. And then, so when I'm working, I just think about myself. Unless it's a film like the Asifa film, I knew who that public was. Or the Sesame Street, I knew who the public was. The film Departure, it was for me. It was coming out of COVID and thinking about travel. I mean, that was just like, it's more my diary than, you know, thinking about what other people are going to think. But I hope that maybe some other people, when they see the flowers moving and the calm music, that they'll, you know, kind of slow down a little bit in their life. I mean, I kind of hope that, but I'm not thinking 18 to 24-year-olds will enjoy this, and then they will go out and they will buy a Kit Kat afterward, you know, which is the way that I would teach my students to think. So yeah, double standard, sorry. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Deanna,
you.
for this wonderful presentation. Thank you, Marile and Sinanima, for this opportunity for our students. And I really like this last movie with
thank you.
relationship with the lights and shadows, and the way you show the nature. You love the nature, and this is really wonderful for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, our students too, for being here.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys. You had really good observations and good questions, and also I will say that looking at your faces while I'm talking has been a real pleasure, because you are smiling at me, you're giving me eye contact. I didn't see anybody playing a game on their phone or anything. So yeah, you're a lovely audience. I want to thank you, and thank you too. I love this. Can I want to take this home. This TV is just this smart TV. Oh, thank you so much. It will fit under my suitcase. Yeah. Oh, it's just so great. You guys have a wonderful place here too, and good teachers, good energy, good city, good country. Thank you very much. It's like, yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you all. Yes.
And this is my friend Kim, who came from San Francisco. She worked at Pixar for 27 years. So some of you might want to shake her hand and meet her as well, too. Thank you. Yeah, do you want, yeah.
And seeing your talk, Deanna, that's really cool.
Thank you, Kim. She was my best friend when we were in graduate school studying computer graphics together. So we've kept this friendship for this many years, and I'm sure you will keep your friendships with each other too, and find your community in that way, and keep your community. It's important, yeah, to stay in touch with your peeps. And we went totally different directions. She went to Pixar, where I used to say Kim's like she's in an orchestra, and she's the conductor of the lighting, you know, of the orchestra. And I'm like that guy last night on the street corner playing a saxophone with an artist saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, you know. And so my films get seen by a few people, and your films get seen by, you know, hundreds of thousands of people, but you're a little piece of it, and I'm the whole thing. So that's kind of where we differ, but you know, we both, yeah, we're obviously good friends and respect each other. So anyway. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you all. Please take a DVD. My business cards are here too, and also some ASIFA postcards from the postcard collection if you're interested in this too. So yeah. And yeah, I have a variety of different business cards here. Yeah. Thank you, guys. I'll take the stuff off the table that you cannot have, which is my phone and my water. Everything else is fair game. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Oops, and I'm going to squeeze behind you a minute. Yeah. Oops. Really, I can have this?
Your work reminds me of Lotte Heininger. I don't know if you
Who is it?
Lotte Heininger.
Oh, I love Lotte Reininger.
Yeah, when you were showing the Sesame Street ones, I was thinking of her work in silhouettes.
Yes, yes. I actually studied with a woman who worked with Lotte Reininger.
Really?
Yeah.